Welcome back to LGBT NDE. My name is Oliver, and I'm honored to guide you through another story from our community. As always, I want to acknowledge the person who made it possible for us to share it with you. This story comes from the work of Dr. Liz Dale and appears in her book Crossing Over and Coming Home, a collection of LGBTQ and non-gay near-death experiences. Dr. Dale has spent decades gathering and preserving these narratives, ensuring that queer voices are represented in the larger NDE conversation. You'll find a link to her book in the description below. We've also included a link to our shared LGBT NDE Facebook community, a gentle space where listeners can connect, reflect, and support one another. If you feel called to join us there, you're warmly invited. Today we're sharing two powerful stories with you. So settle into your favorite easy chair, take a breath, and let yourself be carried into these life-altering experiences.
Here's our first story from an anonymous source. My NDE experience happened when I was 3 years old. I ate or sniffed bleach. Then my father was very upset. My mom and my aunt were in the kitchen when we lived in Berkeley during that time. Mom claimed we had just come back from a 2-week vacation in San Antonio, Texas. My older brother Larry also began getting sick. I became deathly ill and heavy with fluids on my lungs. My parents took me to Doctor's Hospital in Pinole, California. The doctors asked if I drank or ate something. My mom was not sure. Then I was sent to Children's Hospital in Oakland, California, where I was pronounced dead from heart failure and edema to the lungs for 15 minutes. I remember my aunt praying over me, telling them I was not dead. After 15 minutes, I awoke out of this sleep. I could hear my aunt screaming, "Thank you, Jesus. He's not dead." This miracle was in the Oakland Gazette, and I survived. Then, in 1995, my lover died. The day he died, I had a rushing feeling. I was hysterical. I knew something was deadly wrong. The very next day, I found out he was dead. In 1982, I was 18 years old. I had been seeking help with alcohol and speed abuse. My friend gave me some drugs one particular day, and I felt good the first few hours of the day. That night, I began feeling numb, and a feeling of dying slowly came over me. I remember hearing bells and a slight vision of light coming toward me. I do remember hearing strange noises, and I felt a certain spirit coming over me. I began to scream and fight for consciousness. I gripped my hands tightly together, and gradually I came out of near death. Since then, I have been attending AA meetings. I feel that my life is going to be more positive. I have been living alone and taking better care of myself. I was very cautious of all people, evil and good, and I pray to God every day to become stronger and more accepting. In June 1994, I was living in San Francisco. I was fully gay and out. I had very few friends who were gay and they had HIV or AIDS. I still associated myself with them even though at the time I was HIV negative. One weekend they invited me to have alcohol beverages. They shot speed and had a party. I told them I didn't want to go home that particular night because we were in the tenderloin of the night. They let me sleep on the floor beside their bed. I was drunk and felt somewhat sick, feeling like I was losing life. I heard them talking and felt a sort of losing life. After 10 seconds, I regained my life. Again, I saw light speeding fast around my body. It was a kind of wicked spirit around these people. I got up and left and went home. Sarah, you have the next story?
This story is about Dorothy, a secretary on the board of the Women's AIDS Network and the editor of the newsletter in San Francisco. She is also a council member on the Mayor's Planning Council for People with AIDS. Here we go. My near-death experience happened in New York in 1988. I was on the table in the emergency room at Bronx Lebanon Hospital. I didn't know I was there. I felt like I was floating in a void of lightness, and it felt peaceful. Then I became agitated and said, "No, no, no." I felt like I was outside my body looking down as I heard the doctors say, "We lost her. There's no heartbeat." I could see them putting stimulators on me to jerk a heartbeat out of me. I didn't feel any of the pounding or massaging they did on my chest, but I thought they heard my cries. I was mistaken and realized I was talking to someone else, saying, "I'm not ready yet. I have too much work to do." Then I heard them asking about next of kin and for ID. I continued to be panicky and fearful, saying, "No, no, no." The next thing I knew, I felt a vacuum pulling me down into darkness, then up into my lungs, and I began to breathe harder and harder. I knew I needed to get off this table and get back my life, so I pulled the ivy on my neck and I left. I said, "I have too much work to do yet in this lifetime." In summary, I knew there was more work that I had to do, that my life was pre-planned. I would come to the West Coast and devote my life to helping people with AIDS and other life-threatening diseases. It would be a great learning experience, and I could be a great teacher. That is the way it has turned out. That does it for our NDE stories today. Back to you, Oliver.
I would like to thank both my husband Ira and Sarah for reading these stories, and thank you all for listening with such openness. Amy's experience is a powerful reminder that purpose can emerge from the most unexpected moments, and that the light people encounter in these experiences often continues to guide them long after they return, even if they are LGBT. We'll be sharing more stories soon. If you have an NDE or spiritually transformative experience of your own and feel called to share it, we would be honored to hear from you. You can send your story to the email linked in the description below. Until next time, take gentle care of yourselves. You are loved, you are seen, and you belong in this life and the next.